Hi there, and welcome back to Swept Media, the convergence of AI and Web3. Today we have a full house of founders with us on the Swept podcast. First, we have Mo Ledford returning to us from Sogni AI. That's the Gen AI image generator that is currently in testnet. You can use it right now. I use it for making all of those wonderful feature images for the videos and articles that we have on our site. And then, of course, we have Abdul Gadit, who is the founder of ZigChain. This is an L1 that is focused on wealth generation and AI infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure, and general Web3 tooling for everybody. So thank you guys for joining us. I am Brian Newar, of course, the host of the Sweat Podcast. Really appreciate you both coming on here. Mo, welcome back. You're welcome back anytime, like I told you. And really excited to hear about your partnership and about how you guys are shaping the Web3 space with AI tooling.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting.
So we'll get started here by asking Abdul, what is ZigChain's overall vision for AI integration and wealth generation? It's a lofty goal.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to get rich, right? Or
absolutely.
is it better to characterize it as everyone wants to get wealthy? But maybe you can tell us how ZigChain is making that possible.
Sure. It's a very interesting positioning, the way you put it, because wealth is an inspiration, is an aspiration journey. It's a higher value in terms of where you want to be in life, right? When you look at the Maslow's hierarchy and then you start with the bottom approach, right? Basic necessities like food, shelter, and house, right? These are basic necessities. And as you go above on the Maslow's hierarchy, eventually you want to be wealthy. What do you mean by wealthy? Wealthy is someone who doesn't have to actively work and have passive income to, make sure that the person is taken care of. That is an aspiration. Not eventually you would want to achieve that, but would everyone achieve that? Maybe, maybe not. And realistically, can everyone achieve that? Probably not. How is ZigChain working? And for that, and how are we going about it? You need to understand a little bit of the background. When we started 7, 8 years ago, the goal was that we want to go towards the financial inclusion and the financial opportunities that they should be available to everyone and anywhere in the world. And they should not be limited by the geography or the amount of money that you have or by the who knows who kind of an environment. We started working towards that. We created a world-class product by the name of Signally, which is a very advanced version of what usually you call copy trading. It's a proper fund management solution where we are managing hundreds of millions of dollars, connecting the best traders in the world with the millions of retail investors. So basically providing a very high tiered environment, even to the lowest of investor in a way of how much they are contributing. Keeping the same ethos in mind, we extrapolating towards Zwift which is going to be a layer one infrastructure designed for the true DeFi and tokenization and any kind of wealth generation opportunities. Very easy to say, right? This thing, and then implementing is the real part. So the way we are constructing this is that at an organizational level, okay, we are enabling those founders and dApps to come and build on our ecosystem. Um, those can contribute to this goal. So, like for example, one of the goals we have is to that we want to find um, the high yield opportunities from the TradeFi world and bring it onto the DeFi. Okay, we will not do it ourselves, but we are enabling the infrastructure players like this. There is someone who is building an RWA platform on our blockchain right now as we speak. So to bring so to help them that they can do it. 3 to 4 industries which in the next 5 years are going to be completely disrupted by the role of AI in terms of industry. I'm not talking about technology. I'm talking about industries. So one is the legal industry, the accountants, and I believe the wealth management. So you all know about robo advisory, right? There's been a culture since early 2000s in the West and everywhere that there is a robo advisory that tells people where to invest, how to invest. I think with the AI coming in, this is a much more infinitely advanced version of that, where using the data of people, of how they live, how they spend, and how they save, okay, the AI would be able to invest on behalf of that. So, do I see AI as an enabler of infrastructure? Yes, I do. But I also see it as something that will change the way people look towards the wealth management. Many people don't even know that how much do they need to save, how much do they need to invest, and save, and where do they need to invest. This behavioral change will be driven by the AI, and this is, I think, where we will add a lot of value by providing these opportunities so that those AI agents or whatever you call them, they will come and act on behalf of people. So this is how we see our vision going out, and this is how we see the role of AI coming in.
Your outlook on all of this is that yes, ZigChain is creating wealth or helping people create wealth for themselves, but it's doing that through tooling and specifically through AI tooling. Because if I understand correctly, Zignali is basically an AI powered copy trading platform that handpicks via algorithm the best traders based on how their wallets are performing, right?
So not wallets right now is a centralized product, right? So based on the parameters, so we have created something called Z-score, which looks at a lot of parameters, a lot of data in the trading that the way the wealth managers are doing, and they rate it accordingly. That's an AI element. We don't see AI as an exclusive technology that will help. We see it as an enabler, as an add-on into on top of everything. See, eventually humans are humans, right? We are not saying, and okay, what we have also seen over the last 5 to 6 years that those traders that are algorithmic traders are far better performer than the manual traders. Okay, it's a very clear data set over millions of trades we have, and we can tell you that. AI is an advanced version of even of that, right? Both in terms of decision making of how to invest and decision making what as a fund manager of what all you are doing. Um, ZigChain would enable what Zignally is doing at a much larger scale by allowing every kind of technology to come in. Today's AI, tomorrow it can be something else. So yes, AI would play a very significant role in right away, right now, but we want to be in a space where we don't want to get stuck up by one technology only. We think that, over the period of time, technological enhancements can come. Okay, many aha moments gonna come, and we want our vision and our structure to be in a way that we should be agnostic to any of those changes. AI will play a very, very big part into it for sure.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
would just
it's
add that as someone that has known Abdul and Zignali for probably 6 plus years. I
Yeah,
also think a big part, like a unspoken part of it, is just the user experience. Like everything Zignali does and ZigChain does has a focus on being easy to use for the user, and that's actually one of the toughest things about blockchains. Like first, the V1 version of Zignali was like a really good copy trading platform, and it helped give normal Web 2 users exposures to Web 3 in a way where you can see the scores of other traders and a bunch of stuff to really like it was the only thing I can see that can help hold people's hands. And I think the goal of like ZigChain is to continue just to be helpful. And as Abdul says, whether that's with AI or without AI, the
yeah.
bottom line is like they're in your corner trying to help you, which I think is pretty cool. And also, with the Lindy effect, for something like Zignali to still be here 6, 7, 8 years later, like I just want when I talk to Abdul, it's a lot of times I just want to learn. I want to learn from him on how to do that.
Yeah, sticking around is something that is the key, I believe. I come from a Web 2 background fundamentally, right? Obviously, what Mo just said about the customer experience, I think that is a very important point. Obviously, in the early days, we took a lot of help from him on this perspective as well. But yes, that's true that using blockchain scares people. When I talk to people in Web 2, yes, exchanges, people can still start using it. Tell anyone to do a transaction on Uniswap, and you will see their face changing color. My brother, alongside myself, has been investing in crypto for last 10 years. Ask him to use Trust Wallet or do a transaction on Uniswap. He's gonna say, nope, not doing.
yeah, I totally agree with you guys about the UI UX being the key to making anything really usable because you can have a tremendous feature set, very high functionality, major scalability, huge throughput in terms of its power in the blockchain space in Web3. But if people can't figure out how to use it in the first place, let alone connect their wallet to it, then it's just not going to work. And
Yeah.
on the other side, you can have a very excellent UX that just does maybe one thing, and it does that one thing okay. More people will use that thing because the UX is that much better. And there's been a debate on that on social media for some time now about the way to onboard developers onto your network is by having a good DevX. The way to onboard more users is with UX. And that's it. You need to have an excellent UX and the functionality, especially on the back end side where it's tied into DevX, it'll just come because everyone's going to want to use it.
I agree with you there. I would say it's interesting because with our product, Sogni, and our main flagship product, Sogni Studio, which is kind of like a decentralized Midjourney, people say, well, what prevents someone from just like copying that same model? Aren't you afraid? And it's just like we've been building for over a year, and the slight nuances and adjustments that we've had to learn to build this UI, and we're going to continue to evolve. Even if someone were to copy us tomorrow, they would be stuck frozen in time without the additional evolution.
Yeah, the fact that on Sogni it is as easy as uh, so in the Web 2 space, you have like a username and a password, and that's something that's very familiar for people. But you tend to forget the username or you might forget the password. But Sogni makes it super easy to retain those things. They make it very simple. Like, you have this thing, don't lose it. So there's like a Web 3 aspect to it that, like, for someone who trades crypto, we know it's save your private key. Okay, save your password. It's not going to go anywhere. Keep it safe. That very simple. Once you log in, you're in. Okay, on Sogni. And then the fact that you just type in your prompt and you choose how many images do you want. Like, again, harkening back to the UX on Sogni. I mean, I get to say this. I'm gonna say this because I put in every single one of my videos that I generated the images for these videos with Sogni. Sogni's great. It's largely because of the UX. Yeah, it's super fast. You can make like 16 or 32 different images all at once from one prompt, and now it has a prompt optimizer. Great job on that, by the way. But
Cool. Have
because
you
it's
used
so
it?
easy to use,
Yeah,
absolutely, my prompts are awful. Of
yeah.
course, I used it. But yeah, the fact that it's just so easy to use that I can go in, put in like a mediocre prompt, have the optimizer fix it, and then hit go. it it's so much easier than anything else. It doesn't require five different
Yeah.
steps to log in. All that stuff just makes it better. And that again is about UX and it creates lasting power. I think that it will.
And it's amazing, like even in many of our material, we are using Sogni now. It is one of the favorite. It is fast becoming the favorite tool for the content team. It is saving them a lot of time. I was telling more before as well that they even did comparative analysis of the outcomes with some other AI tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney and all, and we found Sogni much better as well. It is indeed amazing, and it shows that the amount of work that has gone into it. I personally use it at some time as well, but it is making the life of content team a lot more easier.
I'm
I
glad you
can
guys
confirm that.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so crazy. I don't know if yesterday and today you've seen all this Studio Ghibli stuff
yeah,
popping
Yeah.
Ghibli.
up.
Yes, yeah,
And it just goes to show that when something like that goes viral, I can't wait because people know that we have an application like Sogni Studio, but we also have an SDK. So I can't wait till builders build small little tools like that that'll change you to an anime character um,
yeah.
or like a Family Guy or a South Park or something like that. And even I have to say the Studio Ghibli stuff that's coming out is really impressive. But give it 3 to 6 months, and there will be an open source model that can do that, and that'll go
I'm
straight
sure.
inside of Sogni Studio when that
Yeah,
happens.
and interestingly, if you see that the image that was posted by ZigChain yesterday of the founders, we actually use Sogni, to produce that instead of anything else. So yeah, absolutely. We use Sogni a lot, and you're absolutely right that all these things coming up more than the technology, it gives a very interesting perspective into how users perceive it. Eventually, users want to see good, look good, and feel good. Um, they would not care if there is an AI behind it or whatever behind it. Obviously, AI makes things faster in terms of adoption, fast growth. But everyone is able to do it. Like it's flooded for the last 2 days. Everyone is just posting about it. How? How are they? Before that, you had to hire a people to make an animated character, right? Obviously, it is disrupting a lot of industries, closing down a lot of, those basic shops who have been doing this, but opens up a lot of new spaces as well. But yes, I mean, it is making on one hand, it is making it much more easier to provide a good UI UX, but then it is making it highly competitive as well. With more and more these things coming up, the expectations around what a product would deliver is also going rocket high. Like people will not cut any slack anymore. They'll be like, okay, this guy is doing it better. You are not doing it that better. Everyone is using the AI or whatever, but the way you use it changes the way people look at you.
Too, and I agree with you, Abdul, about that as well. That the what's going on with AI now is yes, going to disrupt industries, but it's going to create a lot of new cottage industries within those larger industries as well.
Absolutely.
So Mo has known or been working with ZigChain and Zignali for how long? For 4 to 6 years.
5, 6 years, I think. Yeah, I think.
That's a long time. How did
Yeah.
you find yourself in a relationship with them, Mo?
No, that's a good question, and I can't believe it's been that long, but it has. The bull run was warming up, and some friends said, "Hey, can you help out with my project?" And I said, "I love, helping. I've been doing Web 2 to Web 3 startups for like a long time, probably 22 years. I'm 42 years old, and so I said, I'll help you, no problem." And then some of them gave me some token equity that ended up being, pretty valuable. And I said, I like this. I feel like a bee pollinating good ideas. I've learned so many lessons in 10, 15 years, now 20, but like, so I started helping 2 or 3 projects per year full time. And Zignali was literally one of the first. It may be the first or second project that I was introduced to. And I said, this is so cool because in 2019, also I got this Bitcoin tattoo on the side of my arm. You can see it on my Twitter. But like, I truly believe in decentralization. I truly believe in power to the people. But even back then, crypto was even harder to understand. And when I saw that Zignali was offering a platform to help give Web 2 people exposure to Web 3 without having them completely dive in, installing wallets and doing crazy stuff, and they already bootstrapping a good audience, and I said, yeah, let me help with the tech stuff, with some of the scaling, with some of the connections to the exchanges. I had spent so much time at CoinMarketCap integrating into exchanges that I have that know-how in terms of the WebSockets and APIs you can connect to, and I love like Node.js and real-time information, and that's exactly what they could use some help on, and so it ended up being a really cool relationship, and that's pretty much how we connected. I think it was from my friend Nico. So if you're listening, hello
Yeah,
Nico.
Nico.
So what KPIs is ZigChain using to measure the adoption success?
Yeah.
Maybe from the Zignali side, I think is a little more appropriate, like on a
Yeah.
application side. What are those KPIs that you're using to measure the success of the
So
app?
there are a few KPIs on the Zignali side. Chain is yet to come, right? But there are some KPIs there as well. I'll talk about it. On a Zignali's perspective, the main KPI is asset under management. One thing that we follow a lot closely, that how much asset under management is coming. Then on top of it, we have also started measuring about the profitable customer. So it's not only about the asset under management. We also need to make sure that the people who are coming in who are profitable. How do we do that? By making sure that the fund managers that are coming in, they are well curated. So then there is a KPI around how many wealth managers are profitable and how many unprofitable managers are then given like a time period before they are kind of eliminated from the marketplace. These are some of that. Then on the customer success side, we have KPIs like, for example, that only 20% tickets should reach to the human interaction level. 80% should be taken care by the AI, right? So we are using AI a lot on our customer support side. Um, then obviously we have some KPIs in the revenues and targets. I obviously cannot talk about that. But one KPI that we have been aggressively working towards in a strategic way is to expand our B2B business. So in September of 2023, we launched our B2B version. Mavi, if you remember, you when we met in Singapore at our side event, this is where we first time we talked about it. We used to call it Z Prime. Now we call it Signally B2B. So through that, what we are doing is that we are so there is a limitation of the number of customers that we can acquire, right? But they're very large, trading companies, CFD players, MLMs, and all that who have different kind of financial customers and they are looking for new products. So we actually white label our services, some in a co-branded way and some in like a completely white label way. And what they do is that they use our technology, add their trader or use our traders from our marketplace or whatever, and then they also publish it. We are expanding that a lot. In fact, right now our AUM is split between B2B and B2C is 70% B2B, 30% B2C, and it is going to grow more on the B2B side. And there are very good examples like FinUp.ai is created using our technology, and there are many others as well. So this is the area where we have KPIs and we are hard fast growing that. One more thing that we are working on is on the internal SOPs. We are trying to be a lean team. Despite 7 years in the industry, Signally still has only 50 employees. That's it. We are hard stopped at 50. We don't increase from that. So like my partner is like that anytime we have to add someone now, we have to let someone go.
A hard cap at 50 people, right? At Zignali. How can
Yeah.
you
Wait, did you say 15 or 50?
50, 50.
50?
50. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if you wind up getting inbound applications from other businesses? Like you get 100 inbounds. How are you going to scale up and be able to serve all of them with just 50 people? I mean, again, it's
Yes.
a hypothetical, but it is something that if you're trying to hit higher and higher KPIs,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard this
Um,
100 times before.
Of course, I'm gonna answer it. So it's like hard cap that we want to keep it to ourselves as maximum for the maximum time as possible. The scenario that you just explained, obviously, then immediately we need dev people, okay, to fulfill that. So we will do that. But understand that this brings a very important discipline. For a well-capitalized company like ours, wasting money is very easy, and we have learned it the hard way. Okay, we need people. Everyone needs people, but we don't believe in not having A class people. We only need A class people. Okay. And what happens is when you bring A class people, it's not that they work like five people. No, they do work very well. But what they also do is that they have strict respect for the processes and the automation.
At
We,
CoinMarketCap, Cap, I think I was the 12th employee, and when we got acquired by Binance, we were at 22. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a really big team to do a lot of stuff, and in fact, the more you
yeah,
grow, the more connections
yeah,
there are, the more meetings, the more clicks and other stuff, and the more inefficiency. So I agree, thing as small as possible. At Sogni, we're
yeah,
11, and I think I'm gonna try to keep it as small as possible. You know, your weakness can also be your strength in terms of that.
exactly. WhatsApp is a great example when it got acquired for like what, 10, 12 billion dollars. They were like what, 15 employees.
So it's essentially more of an exercise in discipline.
100%. It's all about discipline. You can add people. See, adding people is so easy. It's so easy. Every time you want to do a new growth experiment, add people. People are available. He said, okay, listen, if there is a good dev right now in this world in Web3 and he's looking for a job, then he's not a good dev. I said, okay, what do you mean? He said, it will be a good dev if you have to get him hired from somewhere at a higher pay. And you'll have to literally break him out of there. Then he's a good dev. No good dev goes without a job these days in Web3. No way. Especially if it's a blockchain
It's
engineer,
true.
Yeah, you have
right?
to poach them. You have to steal them from some
Exactly.
other
It's
companies.
it's so true. It's so true.
What's your top priority at Sogni for scaling AI in Web3? So in the Web3 space, scaling AI tooling or applications.
So I see this combination of AI and Web3, especially in the form of DePIN, as a match made in heaven. Because the reality is that more and more people are having really high-end machines. These M4 laptops, Macs just came out with unified memory to run large models. You have all these RTX. The 5090 just came out. You know, this thing only costs like a little over $2,000. So people are buying all in these $5,000, $6,000 gaming PCs or for other purposes, and they're only using it for 8 or 9 hours a day. 16 hours is just sitting there unused, and by connecting them all up in this DPIN solution, I think this is the perfect use case for DPIN. And when people do that, same thing like Ethereum nodes, they need to get paid for their service, and that is the perfect use case for a token. So when you combine all these, it's like Bitcoin itself. It's revolutionary, but there's three or four ideas like public-private key cryptography and time-based snapshots and stuff like that you combine together to form this beast that is amazing. And so that's what I'm really loving about like the confluence of like this AI Web3 DePIN. It's not just a bunch of buzzwords, but they're puzzle pieces to me that like perfectly fit. And our job right now is to prove that DePIN works. You don't have to buy expensive Amazon cloud servers or set up your own data center with heavy machines. This is kind of like the old model. If you look at the Midjourneys and the ChatGPTs and even these new AI video models, their goal is to charge you $20 or $30 a month and dole out as little GPU as possible to profit off the difference, right? So, for example, when we come out with Sogni AI video support later on in Q2 here, we're the only ones that are going to give you more than 10 or 15 seconds. We'll give you 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes as long as you're willing to pay because we're not trying to profit off monthly fees. We're rock bottom prices, parallel, and like the cheapest, fastest in the industry. So I'm just excited every day to like prove my point there. And Sogni, when we last spoke, Brian, in Hong Kong, we probably had like 20,000, 30,000 users. In the last couple of weeks, we have ballooned to 300,000 plus users, and it's absolutely causing a lot of issues in kinks in our armor of our test net. But that was the whole point of a test net, right? Multiple phases to test out all this different stuff. Any way you can try to bot the system, people are trying to bot our system to earn our test net token and move up on our leaderboards. And it's perfect for us. And I remind my team these are good problems to have for us to solve so that we don't experience those problems in mainnet. You know what I mean? So I know my response was pretty big and all over the place, but overall, I'm just enjoying it. I believe the best way to make money in the world is find a place to provide value and take a cut. And that's essentially what Sogni is doing. Only it's not just Sogni, the company, taking a cut. We're giving that to model trainers, a percentage. We're giving that to the GPU workers. So that's my favorite thing where you can find a place where everyone can win together. And that's what Sogni is.
Hey, don't worry about it. The founders of a project should be the biggest cheerleaders for their project. So go ahead and lead the cheers for what you guys are doing all the way. And as for your answer in regard to scaling, that's a great point about how for 16 or so hours per day, those very expensive, highly capable graphics cards are just sitting there doing nothing, and people could be getting paid for having them. Not just for playing video games. Like you're not just going to play Assassin's Creed or Ghost of Tsushima. You can actually make money with those things. So, Abdul, how about you? What is your priority in regard to ZigChain
Yeah.
and Zignali in scaling AI in Web3?
See, again, as I said, when it comes to scaling AI, we believe, again, it's a technology. We are not particularly only focused on AI. We, again, believe that it will play a very big role in shaping the wealth management overall. For us, I'll tell you what is the priority essentially for us is that we can provide an environment where essentially investors can actually invest across the globe through UI, easy UI UX, in a very seamless manner without any boundaries. Okay, and on the other hand, we want to give the distribution layer to these assets basically. Like if someone is doing a private credit, okay, we would want to have a tokenized version of it on our blockchain and offer to the end user. Yes, AI will play a very big role in terms of identifying where to invest, what to invest for the end user. But and we are, yes, we have been talking about giving AI toolkit to the developers and all that. You might see that coming in, but AI, we think of AI as an enabler, okay? But and we don't want to make AI as a single source of technology to grow the scale, grow the blockchain.
I see. So it's not just about AI, but within the scope of AI, that's the
Yeah.
enabler that could unlock a lot of different functionality, perhaps on ZigChain itself, and more importantly, across the blockchain space for anyone who wants
Yes.
to tap into
Yeah.
ZigChain's
So,
capabilities.
like for example, one of the use cases right now I'll talk about is very interesting. Like there are a lot of you see a lot of people creating trading AI agents, right? That they can fetch data and they can, run on chain, off chain, blah blah blah, and create like yield, right? But where do they market it? How do they run it? We provide that infrastructure already right now today. That if they can become a fund manager signally today, and all these through our API, they can actually run these strategies right now, and they will be exposed to hundreds of thousands of people managing tens of millions of dollars right now. And with our blockchain and our DeFi version coming out very soon, they will be able to, manage on chain, off chain, or whatever strategies they are implementing. It can be done everywhere. So yes, I mean, like the AI use case in the fund management is there, and we are a perfect platform for people to execute it. But again, it is not the only thing, but it is one of the biggest things.
I also
Got
think
it.
Zignali is a good use case for us in terms of our partnership together in providing like some decentralized AI infrastructure
100%.
um,
100%.
for yeah, creator-centric like Web3 tooling, so that when, for example, someone builds like a token launcher on ZigChain, like they can use
Mhm.
Sogni as a first-class tool to generate like a logo or a banner based on the description of the token, for example. So these are really
Yeah.
good use cases that we've been kind of experimenting with there. And any way where we can provide that, we also have this NFT art creator that we're going to white label, following the footsteps of Abdul, in that if something is not in your market, you can white label and get to even more markets, right? And everyone
Yes.
wins again. So it's a really great use case.
So, how can Sogni leverage ZigChain technology for greater scale or other benefits specifically for Sogni?
And I think one of the dApps that are building on the chain, its name is it's a launch pad. It's a token launcher. What's his name? Memes.fun. These guys are creating a launch pad on ZigChain. It's natively built, and they are actually considering to have Sogni in there available for the developer for the creators of tokens to use it and to make their journey easier. Because memes consist a lot of artwork, a lot of content basically in there. This is where this can play a big role. So yeah, absolutely, there are a lot of integrations. We also saw that. A lot of traders and a lot of wealth managers, they want to identify themselves as something, and they actually have been using their prompts to convert it into images of their own in a very NFT way. So that's there. And I think one of the things that we are looking to do on a zig chain level is to have something around the wealth pass, and the wealth pass would have its own unique art set. So we are also exploring to use Sogni there as well to make it more scalable, make it faster. So yeah, absolutely, there are a lot of use cases there where we are starting to coordinate.
ZigChain's been around now for several years, along with Zignali, or at least in testnet form. Do I want to ask the big question, or should I ask the small one? You know what? We'll go with the big one now. When do you
Yeah.
expect to go mainnet with ZigChain?
Yes, very good question. Everyone asks us two questions these days. One is when mainnet, second is when Binance. So very usual ask question. I'll try and answer to you. So mainnet, so the testnet is live. Before the mainnet, we want to do something. Um, we are coming up with something called a gamified testnet. We are expecting it to go live within the next 10 to 15 days, inshallah. That What is gamified testnet is that we want people to experience what they're gonna experience on the main net. Okay. On the they will be literally like playing a game. Okay. That they will be going through the journey of understanding what this blockchain is about, and in the process they will be the leaderboard and everything. We want that experience to stay out for some time so that people can really understand. Otherwise, launching a blockchain is not really a big difficult thing, to be very honest. No offense to the technical people, but layer one on a Cosmos, it's technically speaking at a base level is not a very difficult job. But what we are building is obviously technically more cumbersome. um, so we are expecting that in the next couple of weeks, as I said, our gamified testnet would be live. And during the same time, our mainnet code will start going out for the security audit. Now it's up to the security audit, but we would want our gamified testnet to be used for 6, 7 weeks at least. So let's say if that is the case, then yeah, you can do the maths, but definitely during the either the first half of or the immediately second half of the Q2 is what we are targeting right now.
Okay, it's a little bit of alpha there.
Yep.
Second half of Q2. So basically, by do you expect it by the end of the first half? We can say conservatively.
Yeah, much before that. Much before that, hopefully.
Okay. And well, Sogni is still in testnet too, but you guys have put a lot of. There's been a lot of announcements about setting this up and setting that up, stake your T Sogni here, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems like Sogni as well is pretty close to going mainnet. When do you expect that?
Yeah, our goal for a mainnet is super early Q2. So essentially on March 31, that is the end of testnet phase three. There's only four phases, and testnet end of testnet phase three signals that nearly all of the tech is done and battle tested. Testnet phase four is when we wait for the good market, that when we finalize all the sexes and dex listings, and then really launch is imminent in testnet phase four. It can happen any day. So we're shooting for super early Q2.
Great. I'd love to see both of them go mainnet, and hopefully we have a nice market upswing too that
I'll
coincides with
be
that. That would.
I'll be market buying the first minute when they launch.
After 5, 6 years, I still hold my Zig, so that tells you how bullish I am on Zignali also.
Absolutely.
Abdul says that as if he hasn't been farming Sogni tokens for the past 6 months. We
Yeah,
know you.
I have someone doing some things for me, but I would not say much.
I will
Okay.
add that after March 31, testnet phase 4, we're actually going to be doing so we are airdropping 40 million tokens, and we're going to be doing an additional 10 million. This is the first anyone's actually heard of it because we're going to announce it very soon. And that is going to last, testnet phase 4 is going to last until TGE. So could be a mere couple of weeks. So all the leaderboards are going to reset to zero, and everyone's going to be eligible for the 10 million airdrop. We're also going to be introducing a new staking dashboard, and that's where instead of because the problem that we're having is like the promo code people who refer people and the fast workers are generating so many tokens. We don't want them just to burn them using art just for the sake of climbing leaderboards. That's why we introduced a new staking dashboard where they can do that without all the sweat and a waste of resources there, and also it allows our artists to climb the artist leaderboard more. So it's I think overall it's another win-win for everybody to do this leaderboard, but it also helps out us test out the staking tech for mainnet, which we're super excited about.
So you're doing leaderboard 2.0, Sogni leaderboard 2.0 with phase 4.
That's right.
And anyone who's trying to sybil an airdrop, they also need to start from scratch. And like you said, it gives other people an opportunity to grab some bonus Sogni tokens.
Yeah, and in these first three phases, we learned so much. I mean, at this point, we are banning up to 60,000 accounts a week. And there's so much botting. When there's token value to be earned, they will find every way to try to earn it. And again, it's annoying and it keeps us up at late at night, but we're also thankful for them to do this during testnet so we can fine tune our algorithms, and not have to do that in mainnet, when there's real funds at stake.
All right, shifting gears a little bit. I know you guys said that you already play around with like the Ghibli uh, image gen, and I'm sure you're both using Sogni all the time. I know I am. But what other AI tools, be they commercial grade or retail stuff or whatever it is, are you using on a regular basis to improve your operation?
I'm experimenting a lot with open source AI models, and some of them are really quite impressive. There's like three or four that I test out. Also testing out the closed source Chinese models as well, and it's very interesting. When these Ghibli studio anime stuff came out, it is wickedly amazing. They're really good, and but someone might think, oh, like, aren't you scared? Um, but really, the answer is it's not ChatGPT versus Sogni. It's ChatGPT versus open source. and I am on the side of open source, and that's why I think in 3 to 6 months there are going to be some really amazing models. Another thing that we've learned is, our goal is to keep our GPU workers 25% busy, but some of them are working almost 100% of the time. One of our workers actually had a power cable melt, so we've introduced I think like a 30-second cooling off time after every 30 minutes or something for our network. So it's really interesting that I don't think that we're gonna get like this 60,000 renders per hour in mainnet, especially on day one. But it's cool that we've been able to scale up to that. We're doing about 1.4 million renders a day, and then when we do video support, that's 30 frames per second, or and so it's going to be even more crazy, more profit for the GPU workers, and more cost savings for our regular artists who don't have to limit themselves to 10 video renders per month or whatever those other guys are doing.
Now there's a scaling issue for you. You literally have to turn off the machine so that the power cables can cool down. That's an
Yeah, we just
interesting.
we just put them on a break. We don't turn them off, but we don't give them work for 30 seconds just to let them cool, and then we'll get them more work.
Wow, remarkable. Abdul, what kind of tools are you using?
So yeah, I'm more on the on the finance and BD side. So not using these things personally, but I know for a fact that our dev team is using a lot of tools. What I generally use, obviously, I'll use a lot of a mix of a lot of Gemini and basic tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Sora at some time. Yeah, so basic things, but mostly like because how I operate in the where I come from is mostly on the BD side and the finance side and investment side and sales side. So obviously our tools are a bit different. We use a lot of it for research, and a lot of it for creating like um, we have those sessions where we brainstorm our strategies with different tools like Gemini or ChatGPT, where we actually then throw stuff at them and then at those tools and then bring out the results and then fine tune. So that is what we've been doing on our side. Obviously our technical team is doing a lot more usage. They're using things for customer success, they are using things for dev. In fact, our I forgot the name of the tool, but our finance team, they are actually moving away from QuickBooks to a new thing which is totally AI powered. I forgot the name. I'll find it out and send it later. But yes, I mean, tool level, we are using a lot of tools. Everyone, like, we literally have a Slack channel which is like LLM prompt. So people like dumping everything there, and there's a lot of cross usage there as well.
Let's say in like a year from now, what do you think will be the big trend among AI integrations in Web3? What is being built now that will become a trend either for the retail user, for the uh, corporate user, for the developer, even? What is the big thing that will be a trend in the space in a year from now?
Very interesting question. So you want at a technological level or at the application level?
Let's go at the application level.
Application level. So as I said before, I think there are three industries that are on the target of getting disrupted, in my opinion. Maybe not in 1 year, but maybe in 3 years from now. I see uh, the lawyers, the accountants, and the fund managers. I believe that these three people need to really upskill their game, else they can run out of whatever they are doing very, very, very fast. Okay. And I think that that will become a trend. I think it is already becoming a trend because a lot of, so for example, the general counsel we work with, um, she is doing all her contracts using AI now, and the AI is adopting to the case by case basis. Okay. And it is fast becoming a case. I'm seeing it right now. I think these three industries will be the key target. And yes, I think there'll be a trend of more startups coming into these spaces, okay, automating those things. Web3, Web2 doesn't matter, but yeah, we will see a lot of growth and a lot of space shifting kind of things on these three areas.
Apologies, my daughter just came in, but it should
No
be
worry.
okay. For me, it's interesting because what I see in the future is that context windows get a lot bigger in AI, both for large language models and everything, meaning they're able to do a lot more. And so I think the hard thing when you're trying to make an AI agent, for example, you're so limited by the context window of the model that you have to do things like RAG, where you mentioned the word pizza, we have to look up in another database every time you mention the word pizza, bring it in, and then the model talks about something in the past about pizza. So you think it understands all the history that you talked about it, where in the meantime it randomly picks up from the database. So the goal of stuff like AI agents right now is to almost fool you that it knows what it's talking about, even though so much of that is random in terms of file access and stuff. I do see a future where we're all going to have like AI assistants, both in terms of art, in terms of trading, maybe multimodal stuff, or maybe one, they have, DeepSeek introduced this thing called mixture of experts, which is pretty cool. So like you have a single model, but not all of it's activated. And so I can't wait till, I can, Siri and Alexa right now are so dumb. People realize for years, wow, now that we have ChatGPT, it showed us how smart we can make things. And to actually, wake up and actually talk to a Siri-like advice and say, what's the price of Bitcoin? Trade my this when this happens. Log into my account here and let me know, my messages for the day. Like, it's just going to be so convenient. And so I'm just looking forward to literally everything being better, both in terms of what we're capable of doing. It's like when LLMs first started getting good, I was kind of like, is this the end of senior developers? But now it made me realize like it's not. It's the end of junior developers because I can do 10 times more. You know what I mean? But I think that's going to happen to the normal people. Whatever you're good at, whatever you want to be good at, you're going to be able to do that 10 times greater.
Abdul Gadit, Mau Ledford, thank you so much for your thoughts about AI and Web3. Best of luck on your upcoming TGEs and mainnets before the end of H1, from what I understand here. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you next
Thank you very
time.
much for inviting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.